Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to get moving and shape up. My name is Brock Armstrong, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. Burpees are a super effective full body exercise. So why do we hate them so much? Well, this 3-step plan that I'm going to outline in this episode will make you love, or at least tolerate, burpees and some other tough exercises. I talk about the phenomenon of doing too much too soon quite often in my articles, videos, and podcast episodes. But the problem with going from zero to pushing yourself as hard as your body will allow is that it's, not enjoyable. It also leaves you feeling exhausted and depressed about your current physical fitness. Of course, if you do persist and you put yourself through these brutal workouts a few more times over the weeks and months, you will undoubtedly feel improvements in your fitness, but you'll also develop aches and pains, or maybe even an injury, and eventually need to take a break. Or worse, you might deem the experiment a failure and go back to your previously scheduled sedentary lifestyle. But what if I told you there's another way? There's a way to ease yourself into challenging exercises like burpees and fitness routines. Would you be willing to give it a try? Good. I thought you might. The first thing I usually have to convince a new fitness client to do is slow the heck down. We often refer to this too fast pace as being comfortably uncomfortable. It's a pace that gives us the feeling of a good workout because it causes suffering, yet it also is something we can actually do because that suffering isn't unbearable. But there are a few problems with this pace. It deceives you into believing you're getting greater benefits than you would if you actually slowed down. The intensity isn't the best way to maximize your fitness time. It isn't fun, at least not at first, unless you're some kind of masochist, and it leads to injury and burnout. Now, let's look at the difference between walking briskly, not a mosey, and running at a comfortably uncomfortable pace, not an all-out sprint. First, you can take a brisk walk without changing your clothes. You can stack that brisk walking with other activities like running errands. Brisk walking burns only slightly fewer calories per minute than moderate intensity running does, if you're into that calorie counting thing. So let's apply this same idea to burpees. If you watch someone doing burpees or attend a boot camp workout that includes them, you might assume this exercise is all about speed. That's often because we're more focused on getting our workout done and over with than getting the most benefit out of it. Another factor is AMRAP, or AMRAP. Now, AMRAP stands for as many reps as possible in a given amount of time. For example, in some CrossFit workouts, you set a timer, let's say for 3 minutes, and are given a set of exercises like 10 push-ups, 10 pull-ups, and 10 squats. When the timer starts, you repeat that sequence as many times as possible until the time expires. Then you write the number on a chalkboard at the gym, post it on social media, and silently calculate whether you deserve a maple mocha frappa latte or not. Now, okay, all joking aside, now don't get me wrong. Doing AMRAP workouts can certainly challenge you and help you track your fitness progress over time, but it's not a great way to approach your workouts as a daily tactic, and it's certainly not for beginners. So slow down. Focus on the movements of your exercise. Do them at a pace appropriate to your fitness and mobility level. You'll not only enjoy the workout more, but it will give you greater fitness gains, and it will protect you against the all too common too much too soon problem, and you'll also be more likely to enjoy your workouts and stick to your fitness program. And one of my episodes a while back was called 8 Steps to Doing a Burpee. Now, in the accompanying video that I'll embed in the show notes over at quickanddirtytips.com/getfitguy, I showed you how to take each one of the component movements that make up a burpee and master them. In that article, we looked at each step in the burpee as its own discrete movement. Like eating the proverbial elephant, one bite at a time, I also suggest you avoid trying to learn all the steps to doing a burpee all at once. Now, some steps may take longer to master than others. To be safe and smart about this, I encourage you to focus on each movement, practice it, and perfect it before moving on to the next one, even if it takes a few weeks. The same idea can be applied to any exercise, even our good friend running. The truth is, running was something humans were born to do, but we lost sight of that birthright a while ago when we centered our lives around sitting in chairs rather than hunting, gathering, farming, and otherwise toiling to stay alive. Now, these days, we need to apply this same break-it-down approach to running even. Before we take off running on a regular basis, we need to create flexibility in our hips to allow our legs to trail behind us. We need to build spring and strength in our calves. We need to shore up weaknesses in our glute muscles and our core. We need to increase mobility in our ankles, and the list goes on. Skipping these steps is exactly why, according to Yale Medicine, more than 50% of runners get injured each year. Now, it's also important to remember that not all bodies are created equal, and that's even more apparent as we age. Some of us are born with externally rotated hips. Some of us are born with gynovalgum, which are knock knees, or in-toeing, which is pigeon-toed. Most of us experience some type of physical setback in our adult lives as well, but that doesn't mean we have to throw out the idea of ever doing a particular movement again. It's often just a matter of identifying the limitation and working with it rather than avoiding it. Let's say, like me, you had an accident playing hockey and broke your wrist and also smushed some of the cartilage, requiring some surgical repair back in your 30s. Now, as you get closer to age 50, again, like me, that wrist may not be as content to support your weight in the somewhat ballistic manner required for doing a traditional burpee. Well, no problem. Aside from making sure that I do my physiotherapist recommended exercises to keep my wrist strong and supple, I can do protective things like planting my fist on the mat instead of my palm to keep my wrist straight in line with my forearms. I can also use a platform to raise my hands off the ground, which effectively reduces the weight that is supported by my wrist. Or I can do all three of those things. Now, it's important to remember, modifications are not a cheat, and they do not indicate that you are weak or wimpy. Just because you can't do a burpee that will win you awards at the CrossFit Games doesn't mean you have to abandon the movement forever. Modifications are smart, and they show that you have grit, creativity, and determination, and those qualities will serve you well as you move forward through your life. I hope you see that applying these modalities and mindsets to the dreaded burpee can truly help you learn to love them, or at least tolerate them. Imagine how you'll feel when you learn to appreciate an exercise that most other people hate. I also hope that I've shown you that extending these ideas to other areas of your fitness life can open up a whole world of exercise possibilities you might have thought were actually closed. So slow down. Break exercises into movements you perfect before moving on, and make modifications when you need to. You got this. Now, before I let you go, you may have heard me talk about a program called Way Less that I run with my friend and fellow Quick and Dirty Tips podcaster Monica Reinagel, also known as the Nutrition Diva. Well, Way Less is about to kick off its autumn session. So if you're ready to ditch diets for good because the thought of going on yet another diet is completely exhausting to you, especially when there's so much conflicting advice out there, well, make sure you go to wayless.life and find out more about this program and get yourself enrolled for our autumn session starting on October 9th. That's wayless.life. And don't forget to tune in to next week's Get Fit Guy episode because I have a special guest, actually the first special guest to make a second appearance. It's Abby Carver from Yoga 15, and we're going to talk all about stability and how important it is and how to get it. So don't miss that one. Now, my name is Brock Armstrong. I'm the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Get out there and enjoy those challenging exercises.